speakers. Same as system. One, two, 1, 2. Invite. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, well, I'll just put it here. There we go. There we go. Speakers, microphone, speakers. There we go. Okay, now. Hello, beautiful lady.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Mostly. My story is not, it's not delivery worthy yet. It's not quite ready, but it's getting there.
Good. I'm just looking. I'm sure you will be absolutely fine.
I'll be absolutely fine for the not being the real thing, not being the final thing. For being
It's
a
all
practice.
good.
Yeah.
It's all good. We're just all having fun and practicing, and you'll see it always all falls together perfectly. Always does.
Yeah, I'll have to spend a bit of time on it this week. I've got, you know, it's mostly there. It's mostly there. Just a few things to hammer out.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's your story, and you know your story. Like it's not something you're like a fiction that you're writing, right? Like it's something you've lived through. So even if you
Mhm.
aren't prepared at all, you could still deliver a good story.
Yeah. So one question I have is, and I've come across this many times in doing Facebook Lives as well, is to, you know, to have the notes close enough to the camera that as I'm reading the notes, it looks like I'm looking at the camera.
Yeah, so I tape it usually. If you have something you can tape it on to. And also you don't want to be reading. It's just going to have notes to keep you on track, right? Because it's your
Mhm.
story. You don't have to read it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But there's just the order because it's not one full story. It's more, how do I say it? More like little vignettes. Not even that either. It's just kind of a series of events that lead to the conclusion. It doesn't sound like much of a story at all, but it's here's what led to the boom, and here's what it is now.
I'm just going to go put, because we're missing quite a few people. I'm just going to our Facebook group here to put the link because people might be looking for it.
Yeah, I scrolled
It's
back up to last week to find it.
it's quite a ways back.
Yeah.
All our
Okay, I thought I'm not the only one, I'm sure.
No, and I just got in, and I noticed one of my little folders wasn't on, and I flipped myself out and I turned the computer off.
One of your holders?
Yeah, because I've got the tablet supported up in a little holder.
Okay.
I don't know what you call them.
Yeah. I'm gonna go let the cat in.
All right. By the way, I love that red vest, Jacqueline. You look
Oh,
great.
thank you.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Question for you. Are we supposed to be where we're going to be filming our actual speech, or can we just
Well, no, you don't have to be, but if you
Oh,
want to be testing it, it would be great. So we can kind of test the lights and
if it's okay, if I can tweak that later, that's fine. I'll just
yeah,
go back up to my office and do it then. That's no problem. I wasn't sure if you wanted to see the background. This is kind of what it's gonna look like. I've got
That's good.
like, I can adjust the lighting and everything later.
yeah, it looks good. I love that background. It's super cool.
Great. Okay, I'll go move into my office then and let my sweetie have the main floor so we can watch the news.
I like the PJs.
Have to take my, well, I thought I'd wear them just for effect, right?
I'm actually speaking at an event on Thursday that it's a soiree. Oh my gosh, what's her name? She's from Edmonton. Oh, it starts with a Z. Jacqueline, you would know her.
Yeah, Sandra,
Yes,
Sandra
Zenda.
Bell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so she's having an event, and so I'll be sharing actually the same story I'll be sharing on Wednesday night because I don't have time to get organized for another one. So that's great because here's a good thing too. Once you have put a story together that it's it's a good story, it's organized, and you've done it, then you have it forever. And whenever somebody asks you to share a story, it's like ready to go.
Mhm. I thought about that, making it into a Facebook Live
For
reading.
sure. Like after our event, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it because you might as well use it.
Mhm.
So I want to go around the room because usually people get a little nervous and freakish about my story. It's not ready or it's not good or so I want to go around the room and see how you guys are feeling about Wednesday night. So I'm
Are you asking each one at a time or you want us to jump in?
I can't hear her.
Yeah, I can't hear her either.
I don't think she
Perhaps
can.
she's frozen too.
She's
hey?
frozen.
Oh, she's not frozen to me.
Oh,
She's
Can
there
frozen.
you go. You just unfroze, Bridget.
Oh,
oh, was I frozen as well?
You were
yes.
frozen.
Yep.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
No volume.
No
Oh.
volume, and it says your bandwidth is low. Like there's a sign on there saying.
Yeah, I had turned off my volume because I was screaming at my family if
Oh.
some of them can get off. Because everybody's on there right now. So that's why the bandwidth is low. So I'm going to have to hardwire myself on Wednesday. So let's go around the room and see how everybody's feeling about Wednesday. And then actually, no, let's first I'm going to share my screen and we're going to finish the last part of the class. I did not make slides for this one. So I'm just going to open up.
Do any of you have slides that you're going to use? Speaking of slides.
Yeah, hold on. I was just, there was a message that came up. I wanted to make sure. Is everybody on right now? I think so. So we should be good. I don't need to look anymore. Page level is what I want. Hold on.
What about Brenda Lee?
Yeah, I'm
Brenda
not
Lee
sure if she's going to come. That might be a separate meeting with Brenda Lee because she's just doing the music, right? So we'll come back to that after. So first of all, I want to finish our masterclass. This is our last day. Woo woo! You guys are going to get. Oh, I think I'm frozen again.
You're off and on.
I know. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm just I'm just trying to see, am I good now? Because I was going to leave the meeting, but Yvonne, I'm going to make you host and I'm going to leave the meeting and come back.
All right, is this the part we're supposed to talk amongst ourselves?
Yeah, here's a
Okay, go.
topic.
Okay.
Not
Was anybody else planning to use slides? Because at one point it seems to me she told us we could.
Yeah, she
me.
had said, definitely you can. I'm just gonna show 2 pictures,
Okay.
maybe,
And
but not
have you
full
have you
slides.
sorry, have you discussed that with her? Is she going to show them? Are you going to pause and do a screen? Like, how are you going to manage that?
I hadn't talked to Bridget yet about it, but I've shared my screen before in Zooms, and it went quite quickly. So I don't know if she's got a
Okay.
trick,
Okay, I want to ask
a
about
tip.
that.
Yeah.
So I also,
There we go. We should be better now.
I also assume we're doing our speeches live. They're not pre-recorded and polished, correct?
Correct.
Oh, no.
It's all live and we're going to practice a little bit today on how it's all going to go. We are going to be using Zoom. So from Zoom, we're going to stream live on Facebook. So it's going to be
Okay.
very familiar to you. You don't have to learn anything new as far as the streaming part of it. But we are going to do it live. So let me share my screen. I think we're good now. I had to, sometimes when you come back, it helps. So this is going to be in your workbook, and this is my tips and tricks on how to perform your story. So of course you want and memorize the story so that you can perform it better, because it's impossible, well maybe not, but for me it is impossible to memorize a story like word for word. I just can't. I don't have the time. I guess I could if I had to, but I don't have the time. So there's little tricks that I use. First of all, you must write your full story just like you were writing it for a book. The good news about this is I'm in the process of doing that right now, is I have a lot of my stories are written down. So it's super easy to then put it in a book for a chapter, or if you ever decide to write your own book. So it's a really cool thing and important thing to do. Write the full story. And then I didn't put that on there, but I also, on Google Drive, I have a little app that reads me the story that I've typed, because I'm not, my spelling is not that great. And sometimes I get excited and I'm typing and then when it's read back to me, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't quite make sense. So I rewrite it. So I write it, I have the computer read it to me. Then I print it and I read the story and record it on my phone. And then I play it back over and over as I drive or cleaning the house, having a bath. Actually, having a bath is a great place to listen to your recorded story because it really sinks in. And after you listen to it for, 6, 7 times, you really, and especially a 5-minute story, because it's not all that long, it's pretty much memorized. If you've written it, the computer's read it to you, then you recorded it and you listen to it 5, 6 times, or even less, even just a couple times. Your story's memorized. Then I go back to the written story. And what I do is like, okay, what are the important words here that I want to make sure that if I can at all say that particular word, or a word that is important to the story. And so I go through my document and I will use things like change the font color, or highlight it, or bold it, or cap it. So depending on how complicated the story is, I can use all of those and they all mean something different. I will also make a big red line, a slash that says you need to stop here, pause. because that's something hard to remember for me. As you know, I get excited about things. So I like, and I just get going in my story, right? So that is one of the things that I am still practicing is pausing because it has a big effect. So I go through my document and I decide where I want to mark it that I have to pause. Then um, there's two things that I have done in the past. Well, there's been many that I've tested, but there are two that I like. I print my document in font size 18, so it's big. Now that means you have a lot of papers to maneuver, and I'll just glance. So the words that, and I'm kind of following, I'll have a look once in a while, I'll look over, and the words that are important are bolded and capped and red so that I can kind of keep track of where I am. And I know if I'm looking for, oh, the moment the door opened, my first look down out of the plane. So that would be bolded, and then I'll remember, to help me remember. Or I will then, what I have done as well is create a spreadsheet and use those bolded words and put it in one column in the spreadsheet. So that's the bolded word. And here is the paragraph that I have that goes with that word. So when it's in front of you, although it's written down, you're not reading it, but by seeing the word and the paragraph being right there, it's magical. You totally remember it. So it's a really helpful. Now, can you guys visualize what I'm saying here when I say on the spreadsheet?
Yep.
Yeah. So the bolded word is big and then the paragraph is just written small. So if there ever was a catastrophe that I totally go senile all of a sudden, I still would have the full paragraph written there. So that's another technique. And when I do this, it's only on one piece of paper. So my 10 or so bolded words and the paragraph that goes with that word. So I keep track. So I look at the word and I know where I'm going and what's happening. And then the last one that I do as well is cue cards with just the bolded words. So often I have done all of them. And after you've performed a story more than once or you've practiced a lot, you just need the cue card or absolutely nothing. You can just tell the story. But it is important that you do not read the full thing. It has a very different vibe to it. It's not as I mean, unless you're an amazing reader, then it's pretty good. But the downside, even though you're an amazing reader, you're going to be looking at your piece of paper and it has a very different effect. Like, if I talk about, and that moment when I opened that door and looked down 14,500 feet, as opposed to that moment I opened that door and looked down at 14,500 feet. You see the different effect when I'm looking at you? It has so much more power. And it's very hard to do this when you are reading. So again, you can hold your cue cards or have it taped up on a wall or something, but as much as possible, don't read. If you do read, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to jail. Guess what? There is no story police. So I'm just going to stop sharing here for a second. Does that help? Do you have any questions? Good?
Yeah.
Cool.
I have one quick question. Actually.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. The one thing I'm worried about being able to remember is at the end, I have kind of a long quote that I want to make sure I say like correctly.
You are ahead of me, my friend, because there are two things that should be fully written and in front of you is your first line and your last line.
Oh.
Because they are extremely important to your story. The first line is important to have it written because you have the jitters. And the first word that come out of your mouth sometimes are the hardest. Once you start with those first words, it just starts flowing because you've been listening to it, you've written it, like it's all there. But you just get nervous, and sometimes you kind of, it has a rocky start and then it screws you up. So that's why I like having, I literally write it all down, font 18 cap.
She froze again. For me anyway.
Yeah.
We should all do this when she comes back.
Yeah, because it was a good moment actually. Like
I could hear you guys laughing at me.
you like froze like with your hands. You were doing all the speakers
You're like
tips,
this.
like
You were frozen like that.
That's
This
so
is a
funny.
Bridget pose.
That's hysterical.
Fabulous pose.
Where was I when I froze?
About having the first and last part written down.
Yeah. So it really helps you because it really gives, it starts you on a smooth start and it's way easier. Any questions about that? And do that trick, like really to write it, to have it, the computer read what you've written and then record yourself. So now you're saying it and then you listen to it, you'll have it all memorized.
Where do you have the computer read it to you?
So there, if you upload your, do you use Google Drive?
No, I haven't.
There are many, many different apps that you can get. You can have one on your phone. You can have one like what I used. I don't even know what it's called, but let me go look here. And we'll go to, so I haven't, so let me just, yeah, I'll just grab the first thing here. So what I use is, I just have to move you. So you see this, it's called Read Aloud. So that is an app with Google Drive on a Google Doc.
Is that part of Google Docs or do you have to load that?
You have to go into the Google Apps and download it.
Okay.
Okay.
There's also a read aloud in Word.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you use your Words document, it will read for you as well. Let me open that.
So Bridget, is your story in your Google Docs document?
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep everything on Google Docs because especially when I'm going to events all over the place.
Yeah.
If something happens, I always have all my documents anywhere in the world. I
Right,
just
got
need
it.
access to the internet.
Okay, good point. I might pop mine up there too.
It's the best place by far. So I'm just opening a document here and I'm going to paste what I had on there. And you see, there's dictate. Do you know where it is to read out loud on Words?
No.
Yeah, if you go to review
That's right.
and then read aloud, I think it's the fourth, it's speech.
Yeah.
Tips and tricks. Follow the 3-part structure. Normal, explosion, new.
So, and you can set up the speed for all those things. And Google Doc is the same. It will have, you can just go, what are they called? Apps or extensions? I apologize. It's an extension. So if you go here, add-ons, get add-ons, and then
Is it read and write for Google Chrome? Oh, did she
use
disappear?
one. If you have Words, you can use that one. And if you cannot find the app for Google Doc, let me know and I'll get it for you. But, and then, so then you come here.
Tips and tricks follow the 3-part structure. Normal, explosion, new normal, how to memorize your story. The first.
I apologize. Actually, I just realized that's not a Google Doc. That's a Chrome extension. So it will read anything online. It's a Chrome extension. That's why I couldn't remember. Okay. and you can set the speed and all that. So at first I
Tips and
start
tricks
slow.
follow the
Whoops.
three-part structure.
Now I won't stop. So I really like this because before I go any further, it really gives me a good feel for the flow of the story. All right. Any other questions for this memorizing?
Bridget, I have a question for you. When the Google Docs reads you back the story, there's no intonation to it.
No, none.
Is that valuable, or are you just listening for the structure of it?
I'm listening for the structure
Okay.
because the intonation and the pause and all this, it's when I record myself. So now I have my piece of paper and I will make the red slash where I need to pause and then I just read it. There's nobody here, right? I'm just reading from my paper and I really pay attention to all the places where I want to stop or slow down or go faster. And then I just have my phone headphones and I just play it back over and over and it has all of it in there.
Mhm.
It's just, I just like all those steps because it really helps. Like when you create the story, it's like, oh, like before you, as you're writing it, because you don't want, what I found is if I write it, then I read it and it's not right, then I have to go back and rewrite it and reread it and record. And so that's why I do the read out loud. I write it and then I listen to it. Is it making sense? Did I repeat myself? Did I, you
Okay.
know? So that's what it's for, the structure and the words that I'm using. And then my verbal recording is for all of the oomph in it, everything included. And it's really good because you can focus all only on the intonation of your voice. You're not looking at anyone. And then that's what you listen to memorize. So then when you're sharing it,
Mhm.
it's all going to be there. All right. So we have gone through this here. And I see there's a question in there. I will come back. Yeah, and just just know your story good enough to have fun with it. Like you do not have to memorize all the words. It makes you sound robotic when you do. So it's a story you've lived through, and once you've written it and listened to it and recorded it, you're good. You're good always, always. And yes, you will forget some parts of it and go, gah. But that's okay. You're the only one that knows that. Nobody else will know, and everybody will think that was a great story. Like, and the best way is like, have you ever had somebody share a story with you and you go like, oh my God, like, I think she forgot a part of the story. Like, it's pretty rare unless it's like a really big part of the story. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. When you share a story, it's a gift that you're giving people and they just sit there and receive it and appreciate it. That's exactly. And over 1,000 stories shared at my microphone all the time. Like people get so nervous, and I'm like, you cannot go wrong. It's a gift that you're giving to people, and they are just happy to receive it. So you just do your best, and it's more like all of this practicing, and it's more for yourself because you want to be as best as you can be. As far as the people receiving your story, they will take it the way you give it to them, and they'll be grateful always. Um, so again, we've gone over this. This is more like if we were to start from scratch, that, the story is not a rant. It's not an essay. It don't come teaching people. You're sharing a story. It makes it a lot easier when you pick a story that you really care about, that you have strong emotions. That's why I love using my skydiving story as an example for many things, because it was such huge high emotion that the moment, like I did a few minutes ago, go back into that story immediately, like it's high emotion and it projects. So if you could pick a story that you have higher emotion, it's a lot easier to perform. Use props. Now it's a bit trickier online, but you can still do it. And I don't think we'll do, unless you absolutely have to and it's photos, then you can share your screen and use a PowerPoint. The problem, when I first started speaking, I was PowerPoint galore queen. I loved all my PowerPoints because it helps you stay on track. And but it also,
Oh, did we lose her?
Yeah, I think she's frozen.
Oh,
She's frozen again. Oh,
yeah,
am I back?
yeah.
you're back now.
Okay.
You're cutting in and out.
Ah, so annoying today. Definitely got a hard wire. So I would get into my story and then I would forget to click my slides because I'm just like, into it. Then I go, because then there's an important slide and I would go, oh man, so I have to click it. So it breaks the flow of the story. So it's good to have slides, but as little as possible is the best because then your chances of forgetting to click or getting lost in them are less. So, in a 20-minute story, no more than 5 or 6 slides, I would tell the speakers at Women Talk, because then it becomes more of a presentation. It's a different thing if you're presenting about something or teaching or like, I have a cajillion slides. But when it's story sharing, it's only a few that are impactful, and I like to use them in a way. I can't think of one. Oh, maybe like, let's use the plane. So I have a picture of me when I first jump out of the plane and you see the earth. It's just, so what you do is like, like the building, like that moment when I open the door, there's no words. Click, the picture comes up and people go like, whoa, right? So that's how you use it. But to click and then look at the picture and I'm talking in-person event now, click, look at the picture and talk about it, it doesn't work as good. It's way more impactful that you talk, you have your clicker, and then click, you don't even have to look, you know what's going on. You can't do that if you have a lot of slides because you get lost. um, Music. Oh my God, music is huge. When I do my conventions, for those of you that have been at my convention, my first entrance is like, I spend a lot of time picking the song that I'm going to pick. I usually go for like blowing them off their seats. It's the first part of the event. People are excited. They're there to have fun. And I walk in, the music is blaring, everybody stands up and we have fun. So whenever you can use music, it's very powerful, as you know, and not only to raise the emotions, but on the Sunday morning, I do the walk of gratitude, and to add the music in the background changes everything. If I was to go through
Bridget, we lost you again.
this is so crazy today. Am I back?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're
Okay.
back.
Sorry. I've never had such a bad connection before since we have our new Wi-Fi, our new connector, modem, I should say. So the problem with using music online, there's two things. A, the technology of making it happen. You need to know what you're doing. So if you do have a piece of music you want to play, reach out and I'll help you. Two, you need to make sure that it is not copywritten, because places like Facebook will just pull the video or mute you. So you need to make sure, and if you go on Google Drive, YouTube, you can find royalty-free music that you can use. There are programs that I use to create my videos. It's got lots of music on there. But in live events, it's not as important. Often you have to pay the CRTC fee, which usually the hotels will collect or they have one. I can't really remember. It changes from hotel to hotel. Some hotels don't care. Some make you pay. So it's all over the place with that. But when you're in person, using music is great. You just need to make sure you have all your technology arranged. Wear the appropriate clothes. I can tell you that nothing, and I mean nothing, will make a great entrance like wearing a warrior outfit and a 4 feet long real sword walking in a room, right? So it has a real impact on people. Obviously, online is going to be a bit different, but hey, it's a holiday story thing. So if you have Christmas decorations behind you, wear a hat or a shirt. You don't have to. Like, wear the clothes that will kind of match the story that you're sharing whenever you're able to, or the emotion you want people feeling, right? It's huge. So spend some time thinking about that. What am I going to wear? Do I wear a hat? Am I really dressy, or just I want to be cozy in my PJs? All of it is, there's none of it is wrong. It's just put some thought behind it whenever you go on stage. What will my clothes say about me? And I always prepare my mindset, especially not as much when it was the little monthly events, but when I'm getting ready to go, especially when I do crazy stuff like I dressed up as Elvis. Like, I was really nervous because it's like really weird. So I was like totally hiding in the hallways, and oh my god, the first time I was there an hour too early. I screwed up my time. I don't know how I did that, but staying in that frame of mind. And I kept listening to that song. I put earbuds on and listened to it over and over and over, pump myself up or calm myself down. Like, maybe before on Wednesday, listen to Christmas music. You want to put yourself in that frame of mind of what you want people to feel. So the moment you enter the stage, you stand on that stage, you're there. Last year, the last event I did, my convention, I believe my first song was Born to Be Wild, or Born to Be, I can't remember, but anyway, like, I listened to it over and over so that I'm now like really feeling the song. And when I get on stage and that song is playing, like, I'm all in there, the words are fresh in my mind, and I'm ready to give her. And it can work for, and it work not can, it does work for online as well. Like, prepare yourself mentally for the mood that you want to be in. Microphone. So now we're going to talk on stage first. Never, ever, ever turn down a microphone. um, Even if you're as loud as I am, use the microphone. First of all, it gives you authority in the room. When you're the person on the microphone, you're the one that has the authority in that room. Use it. If you're going to go and share a story or make a presentation, you want people listening to you, or otherwise, why would you do it? So whenever you are offered a microphone, always use it. Different microphone. When you're on stage, you should always try to be nice and close to your microphone, because your voice will be a lot richer. Now, it depends online on the microphone that you are using. Most of the microphone, when you are performing live, you want your chin to almost be touching the microphone. Like, I don't know, can you guys see? Oh yeah, you can see. So like, you're really nice and close to the mic. It may not have the same effect online, but when you're in person, that is how you get a really nice, rich, sexy voice. If the microphone is too far, in person, again, that's what we're talking about now, it gives you that tin sound, like it's just not as good. So when you're offered a microphone, you say, yes, I would love a microphone, and then you own the microphone.
Cool.
And for online, if you're going to use a headset, they give you really good sound. They don't look as good because you want to do your hair, and now you got this thing on top of your head, so not as good. But when you do use a headset, and even some of the mics, record yourself and see what it sounds like, because I just had a lady, I was evaluating her at Toastmasters, and she had the microphone. She had her microphone on, and it was popping all the time when she's talking. So some mics are more sensitive to this than others. Record yourself and test your mic. Like, are you popping? Like when you're talking and that blow of wind, right? Like some mics are more sensitive to it. So be careful of that. That means that you're too close. So if that happens with a headset or a microphone you're using, just move it away a little bit so it's not so close. And of course, use movements. We went over that last week. Did we talk about movements for online last week? I couldn't remember.
Nope.
No.
Okay, so I will come back to that. There are a few that are really good because obviously every movement's when you are live, and I would like you to stand on Wednesday if you're able at all. But everything, so when you're filming, it's like a few inches of like 1 or 2 inch above your head and the waist up. So your hands, it's important that people see your hands. If you're using your hands in your story, they must be able to see them. Often what happens is people are moving like this and doing stuff, and you can tell they're moving their hands, but you're not seeing them. So it's distracting. If you're going to use your hands, make sure that people are seeing your movements. And the other thing online is you can get also the 3D effect. When you're on stage, your movements are way bigger. It's your feet. You're using the stage from right to left, but online it's only shoulder, like right around shoulder to waist. That's where the movement is. But you can do some 3D stuff. The last story I shared, Toastmasters, I went like this, like shaking hands, and now it's like woo, all of a sudden it pops out of the screen, right? Like it was a 3D effect, like, hi, my name is Bridget, right? So it has a kind of a cool effect to it. So play with it and see if you can do some 3D, or some like this, or different kind of stuff. um, but again, remember, we talked about this last week. We watched a video. Your hand movements need to be normal, not prefab. Hate prefab, like the trying to get people to know that you're smart. Like people do that. Like you are actually, people teach that. Do this with your hands because people will think you're smarter. So what happens is people walk around the stage like this. It's hysterical. You can totally tell when it's been like they're thinking about it and they want like to have authority and they just walk around like this. Don't do that in storytelling ever, unless you're mocking it or having fun with it. And the pause, we've talked about this. Pause is so huge. Just before you tell something, like pause. So one of the and I have that as an example later on, but I want to use it now as well because it was really good for the pause. So one of the stories I share is about my high school sweetheart, Mike. I was madly in love with Mike, like a coup de foudre, as we say in French. And Mike, as in microphone. So now you've stopped, and everybody expected it was going to be Mike, a boy, but it was Mike, microphone. Like you make that pause and sits, like it gives people time to really process what the hell just happened here and to giggle. If you do it, my sweetheart's name was Mike, microphone, and then you keep going, it does not have the same impact as taking that big pause, Mike, microphone. So it has way more power when you pause. So you obviously don't want to do too many of those because it feels weird, but to use a couple of them is wonderful. If you're brave, it's kind of cool to change your voice for a character in your story. Sometimes, if I would to, and I may do it, my mom, give her a little bit more of a French accent in the story or a higher pitch, or because it also helps people with the story, knowing that you're now in character and you change your voice a little bit. Now, this is a little more advanced. So that's something to do if you're super comfortable with your story and you've done it many times. You can go ahead and do that. But it's something cool to work on. And vary your speed and how loud you are. I always got to think about not being so loud for me because I'm always loud. So if I lower my voice and listen, this is so important. Like it just catches attention immediately. So, or, oh my God, and but make sure if you're doing it online to not do it on the mic, like pull away a little bit because people have earbuds on and it will blow their eardrums. But it's really good to do, like just pull away and it has a different sound to it. So it can be something fun to use. Now, by the way, this is like, and it's in your workbook. This is not stuff that you're all to use on Wednesday. This is like lots of tricks of the trade that you guys, can use on Wednesday or not, but down the road. And maybe, as you share more stories, you pick one or two every time you share to get a little bit better. This is really important. Watch your filler words. The and like a we talked about that last week. And appeal to their senses, right? So when you're describing something, so that's always what I like to do when I do the full, for example, the skydiving story. Like I just put myself in the plane. What am I seeing? What am I smelling? And what am I feeling? And like the wind on my face is just like my skin is just flapping. Like so, try to use different senses. It smells bad, or it looks bad, or
Your lips are moving, but we can't hear you.
Lost the volume. Frozen.
You're frozen, darling.
That might not be a bad strategy when we're storytelling. If you forget a
microphone.
chunk, just move your lips and, everybody will think that.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Ourselves on mute and telling the story and thinking we know what we're doing.
That's really funny, actually. That would be really funny. I might have to use that one day.
Or when you want
And
to beep yourself, beep yourself with a mute button.
oh my God, yeah, you can buy those sound maker. You can have it on your phone. Beep beep, like arr, arr. You arr. That's funny. Metaphors. People love that. People love metaphors that are like really wacky and weird. So, for example, I talk on one of my Toastmasters presentation about the first time I went on stage in front of a large audience, and I was just like, "Oh my God, how am I gonna remember anything?" My mind was like a Vitamix on high speed. So people like that because it kind of makes you pause and like now you're seeing the Vitamix and like, and making it like it's kind of a nice break to snap people back in your story because often people can wonder. So when you do something like that, they actually have what is that? So and maybe use the pause after you do one of those to give time to register what just happened there. Don't overperform. I've had, sometimes people, it's almost like a Shakespeare acting class. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but in story sharing, I personally, this is just my personal opinion, I think if it's overacted for you, and that's different to all of us, but when you're sharing a personal story and you are overacting it, then it just something doesn't match. If you're acting in a Shakespeare play, then we know that you should be grandiose. Doing it too much in a personal story sharing, if it's not your style, it could be somebody's style, that's great, but if it's not your style, it can affect negatively your story. And keep your hands out of your pockets. We don't have to worry about that. Well, I guess you could have your hands down the whole time and just kind of be stiff, but try to use your hands. We've talked about this, and look and smile at the audience. Make sure one of the biggest mistake, as you all know, when we're online, And it's so for me, I really have to focus, and I've gotten a lot better because my camera is not on my laptop. This is my laptop camera here, but I use this camera there on a tripod. So make sure that you are looking at the camera, uh, because that's how you're making contact with people. Um, and yes, storytelling is a skill, not a talent, and everybody can do it. So I'm going to stop the share here. So I've like vomited a whole bunch of stuff on you guys right now, but this was part of the master class. It's not necessarily for Wednesday night, but it's things for you because eventually when COVID is over, we are going to start live performance again. And you guys will be performing on one of my stages. You will be sharing your story. So this will be a good time to go back to this document and look at all this stuff for in-person performing. Was there any question on all the cajillion things I went over?
For slides, to not be distracted by screen share and hitting buttons, although there would still be a certain amount. Could we show the phone and show the picture on the phone like
No.
that? Keep telling the story and then
No.
come back? No?
No, it's
Okay.
it's so low quality. People can't really see all that well. So if you do need to use slides, so here's what we can do. Send them to me and I will run the slides for you.
Okay.
Now
I
you
was
don't,
hoping to say that.
yeah, for sure. I'll do that. Just make sure that there isn't a cajillion of them and we can talk as to how we're going to make this happen. Because we want you full screen when you're sharing your story. Now it's time to share the slides. So I'll share screen, show your picture, take it off. Because when you're story sharing, I don't want you small in the corner for the whole presentation. Do you have a lot of slides for your story, Jacqueline?
No,
Okay, good.
just a couple, if I end up using them.
Okay. No, and it's totally cool because it can enhance your story big time. For sure it can.
Mhm.
I wish I had a story of my mom and my story of what happened to her because, oh my God, I would so share it because it's goddamn funny. And I'm not telling you until Wednesday, but yeah, we can totally share slides if you guys have slides. Message me, we'll talk, and we'll look at it.
Bridget, I have a question regarding props. So I don't know how far we're going to be sitting from the screen. I thought it was like a little further back. I have a prop that's about 3.5 to 4 feet long. It's not, I'm going to be drawing it through the screen. Is that going to be okay?
Yeah. If you want to practice, do you have it now?
Yep.
Let's have you practice it. Like,
I'm going
so
to
every,
in my story, but
let's see what your prop looks like.
can you see this? I won't tell you what it is, but that's what it is. It's a long tube.
Yeah, that would work because people get to see, or you could put it on the floor beside you and go up and down, do it that way and see what that looks like. Are you going to be standing to share your story or sitting?
I was going to sit because I'm going to be sitting beside the fireplace and the Christmas tree because that's the backdrop.
Okay, so put your pole down now beside you.
Prop is going to be sitting beside me on a table. And as I do this story, I'm going to pull it through.
Yeah, pull it through. That works good.
And then I'm going to pull something out of it. So
Okay.
That's going to be the movement of what's going to happen in the story.
Yeah, so make sure that you're maybe a little bit further, like from your hips up.
Okay, like
Because
sort of where I am right now, because that's gonna show what the activity is gonna be right about here, but it's gonna pull through the screen.
yeah, so right now there's too much space above your head, empty space. We don't need to have that much space above your head. Susan Jones, your head is cut off, right? So
From where I'm
this,
sitting right now, is that too far or too close? Too far?
that's good, but you want your camera tilted down so there's not so much space above your head. You only want about like me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good now.
Okay, good. So
So since we're here, let's talk about backgrounds.
pulling the prop through like that, and then okay.
Yeah, that works well.
You got it.
Let's talk about background. So I've changed my background. See, I moved my office around and put a shelf behind me. That's my book. That's three books I'm in, and then some family photos and some holiday knickknacks. And so I put a shelf behind me because then I can change it. Uh, I don't want you guys using a fake background because let me just get back to my slide here. I apologize. I need to get back up. We'll actually get back to that because at the end I have, we're going to go over that. So I want to quickly go over the body language for online. And I'm just going to shrink you ladies because you're in my way. So there are, let me move you. So there are some good body language when you are doing online. There aren't half as many as there would be if you were in person, but everything happens at chest level. You can grab your boobs, that would work. If it fits the story, but everything chest level is where you want your body language to happen when you're doing a Facebook. Now, emotions, so over your heart, like, oh my god, like I was so touched. So this is a really good one. Comparing, right, the left to the right. Now I can't see myself right now, but make sure that your hands don't get cut off. So practice it a bit. So go back up. If your hands get cut off too much, then back up so you know that you have enough space. Excitement, so like fist bump, or now try to not do too much right in front of your face, always like a little bit off to the side if you can, right? So those are good ones. And then or like huge. So you may have to do this to like, because you can't put your hands all the way out, chances are, unless your camera is really far, and we don't want that because we want to see your beautiful face. So it's like really big. It started this one and it was this big. So these are some of the main one. I'm sure you can come up with a lot more. And again, this is on stage. Like, just get your audience excited and into it. And, I just love it. I miss the energy of being in person because it's so powerful when you have an audience that's like totally into it and enjoying the story that you're delivering or the music or whatever it is. Like, it's just incredible feeling. So here are 7 of the ways that you will connect better with your audience is by knowing your audience. And I think we have touched on this, but who is there? So I'm going to tell you on Wednesday night, there are going to be women between 35 to 55. I bet you 90% of our audience will be that. So keep that in mind when you're sharing your story. That is who you're talking to, a female that's between 35 and 55, middle to upper income. That's who my followers are. Speak their language. Don't go rogue teenager on me because you lose them. If you're not using language that they appreciate, you lose them. So again, keep the audience and speak their language that they understand. Match their energy. That's not possible when you're doing an online, but when you're in an audience, so if I go on stage and somebody has just shared like a super heavy story that like people are just like, we had one at I've had stories like this girl who was from Africa and was kidnapped by one of the general and raped for years and abused and shot at through the war. And like, oh my God, people were just like, oh, so following that is really hard. So there's no way that I can like come on stage with the upbeat music. So if you have a good MC, that really helps because they can like let people like whew, let it go and come back. But if you don't, then you have to adjust your energy when you enter the stage to match the audience and then bring them back up. So you would not come, I would not come up on stage like my, yeah, Bridget, you know, like it would just be like, wow, this was just heart wrenching. And you are such an incredible, powerful woman. And then I would like move it up and up and up and up with the audience, how you are all powerful. You can all survive. And, you know, you just keep bringing it up. But when you first enter, match the audience's energy. Look people in the eye. When you are on stage, uh, you pick different people in the audience and like truly look at them in the eyes and make eye contact for a few seconds. Then you have to move on because you'll make them uncomfortable. But keep, you know, as you're talking, there's no choice here. You have to make eye contact. You cannot be one of my graduate if you don't. That's it. That's all. It's a rule. Make eye contact. Now you don't have to do it the whole time, but if you're makes you uncomfortable, but you must make eye contact, like pick people in the audience, in different part of the audience, front, back, left, right. When you're needing a little boost, find in the audience who's going like this. Uh-huh. Been there, done that. Uh-huh. Like they're digging what you're putting. They're like they got it. Like they follow you. They love what you're saying. So if you need a little boost in the middle, like let's say you fumble or something, come back to that person and look at them because they're loving you and they've been like, yes, yes. So know who those people are in your audience so that you can come back to them if you need them and respond to what you see. You have to know what's happening in the audience. Sometimes people they just don't care what they're thinking. Like this is I mean, different online, I'm talking again live. Um, you know, if people, something's going on or people are tired and you're like, all right, this has been a really long afternoon and I think we need to stand up. Like you just might need to change it up. Like watch the audience. What's happening? What are people feeling? And it takes experience to be able to do something like that. But if you get that feeling, you're on stage and you get that feeling, do it. Give it a try. Be bold. Say, you know what? You guys look tired. Let's stand up. So, and what that does, it also makes them realize that you're aware what they are feeling, and that's a good thing. Move. Move on the stage. Don't move too much. Like some people just like, and that's just annoying. Like you cannot be, you know, nonstop. Or also like people that walk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on the stage, like a nervous walk. Don't do that either. Like you need to pause and then move. You actually can use the stage a lot when you're sharing a story. On the left side of the stage was when I was a teenager. On the right side of the stage is as an adult. So I'm telling the story. Now I'm going to share something about when I was a teenager. So I take a couple steps to the left. When I'm done, I come back to the middle. And now I tell you something about when I was an adult. So I take a couple steps to the right. And you do this a couple times, and now people know when you're there, that's when you were a kid. When you're here, that's when you're an adult. It's amazing. And it helps people follow the story. If it's just random, then it doesn't help your audience. So when you do these moves, always do them as much as possible for your audience so they get to appreciate your story better. And then be likable. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Smile at people, pour some love on people, be nice, and it pays off. All right. How's everybody? I've been like really wrapping everything up here for the rest of our class. And again, you have all of this written down. So now let's talk about what's going to happen on Wednesday. Hello, Roseanne.
Hello, I'm so sorry to be late. I got my times mixed up.
That's okay.
Anyways, I'm so happy I got to join you all.
Perfect. Okay, so thank you for being here. Um, so let's talk about setting up for our live event. So obviously everybody has Zoom. I will send you your Zoom link probably tomorrow. Uh, you're going to meet me here on Zoom on Wednesday. So that's all you need to know how to use is Zoom. The event will be broadcasted live on Facebook, but all of us that are sharing stories are here on Zoom. If you are able to hardwire yourself, meaning not using Wi-Fi and use the little cord that goes from your modem to your computer, that is the best quality picture you can get. Make sure that once the event starts, you go and comment in the Facebook live video, like within the video, and communicate with the audience and talk about your sister sharing a story like, oh my God, she's so brave. Oh my God, that's so funny. And I had no idea she was going to have such a great story. Like, just be very complimentary to each other in the live Facebook on Wednesday. The other thing I want you to do, if you're able, is to share the live video. You'll have the link. It's going to be on my news feed. If you can go to my news feed watching the video live, but then what you do is you share the video to your news feed. If we all do this, that means now that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that can be seeing the video. Um, use a microphone if you have one.
Bridget, you're going to tell us how to have it show on our feed?
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
If you use your phone, make sure it's landscape. Meaning, so if you're not going to be using your laptop and you're going to use your phone, video yourself this way, not this way. So this way, because then you'll fill the little square. Because if you're the other way, then you look this long, skinny strip and it doesn't look good. Make sure you have an interesting background. If you can, no digital background on Wednesday night. They just are too finicky. People disappear. Um, put your back to a wall or even just the kitchen. Now, there's been some interesting research happening about backgrounds. There is like this huge Twitter feed happening. It's called Rate My Room. And all these people from around the world, like from prime ministers to like big names, they're all on videos right now. So people are really interested to see what's behind you because people are looking. Anybody notice my picture right there? Did you notice it? Right? And if I move up this way, then there's Luke. Oh, god damn, it's always backwards. So there's Luke, and then my book, and so as you're moving and doing stuff, like people are looking, most people are looking at that stuff. So what that does is it makes you connect with your audience a little bit more and they get to know a little bit more about you. But there is this thing going on, Rate My Room, and it's a big Twitter feed. There are thousands of them, and all these people, they rate interviewers' room as to what's good or not. Like, look at that with Susan, the nice Christmas tree right behind you. Super cool. If you can have pictures, that's great. If you can stand up, I'm not standing up today because I have like moving parts, but I will be standing up for Wednesday when I'm sharing my story. Now I'm playing a Silent Night on the guitar. I don't have a strap, so I'll have to sit for that. So I got to figure it all out how that's all going to work. I'm going to have to put my foot up on the chair, actually. I am sweating about that. I haven't played guitar in 30 years. Here I am going to do it live. It's hysterical. But I like to put myself out of my comfort zone. Waist up an inch above your head and stand up if you can. So now let's talk about setting up. So if you are able to meet me on Zoom Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m., you won't have to stay the whole time, but I want us to meet early. I'll probably turn it on around 6-ish and be playing with stuff and make sure that everything is handy for me. But let's meet, make sure that you have a good connection, good lighting, everything is great. We can talk a bit about that today as well, but we need to still meet at 6:15 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so 5:15 Pacific. You guys, if you can't say, that's totally cool. Just quickly come on, and we'll make sure everything is good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to turn your camera off when you're not speaking. And then you're going to turn, and I'll send you a write-up of this. And then at the end of the evening, when Andrea Brennan, who's a minister, I think she's bisexual, and I can't remember what religion she's with. Anyway, like super interesting lady that I met through Women Talk was one of our speakers, but she's a minister. That's what she does for a living. And she's just an amazing storyteller. So she messaged me wanting to share a story. So that'll be super cool. Wear your holiday outfit if you have one and you want to, and it matches your story. Now, on Wednesday, make sure that you have your Facebook Messenger, because that's how I'm going to be communicating with you. All communication will be going through our group. And what I'm going to do, I'll probably create a separate group for the event, just because we want Andrea and Brenda and Colleen songs. And I think there's another lady that's going to sing. So all of us will be in one messenger. So if anything go on, we can all help each other with what's happening. So right now, what I would like you to do is I want you to set up your Zoom account to hide non-video participants. So what you're going to do is right here at the bottom of your screen where the little video camera is, you're going to click on that and you're going to click on video settings. And then you're going to scroll down until you see hide non-video participants and spotlight my video when I speak.
You want us to do that now or
Yes,
Wednesday?
right now.
Okay.
I'd have to go on. I'm going to be using my desktop, I think. This
Okay.
one.
I'll be sending you that info so we can test it. And I'll tell you why we're doing this.
So how do we're in our Zoom right now. How do we go and change our
So-
settings?
Right here at the bottom where you see that at the bottom of your Zoom where you say start video, there's a little arrow, click on that. And then scroll down until you see video settings.
Oh, okay, great.
And then once you're into video settings, scroll down until you see hide non-video participants and spotlight my video when I speak.
And the other one says always show video. I turn that off, right? Always show video preview dialogue when joining a video meeting. I don't need that on right now.
Okay, yeah, no, the two that I want you to do is these two. The rest doesn't matter to what we're doing.
Okay.
So hide non-video participants, and what's the other one?
Spotlight my video when I speak. I will send you this slide.
Will we need to do that again on Wednesday, or are we doing it now that it's always that way?
I think it will stay, but we will do that Wednesday when we meet at 6:15. I'm going to go over that again.
Okay.
But I'm going to show you why we're doing this now. So when you set up this setting, it almost becomes like a webinar. So when you all turn off your videos, so let's have you all turn off your videos. So go to the bottom and click on the little camera.
Oh, I disappeared.
Yeah. So you are now not going to be showing and only the person sharing their story. So the screen will
that's
show only the speaker.
Awesome.
So it has a better experience for the viewers. So you can turn your cameras back on now. So what's going to happen is everybody will turn their cameras off at 7. And when I introduce you, you turn your camera on. I'll be turning mine off. And then people will only see you. At the end, we're all going to turn it on and sing together. So I'm going to tell Brenda Lee, they can perform on their own throughout the event. And then at the end, we can all come on and sing with them and bebop. And I have no clue what it's going to sound and look like with the music, but we don't care. We're going to do it anyway because it's for fun.
Great.
Do you have a projected amount of time this is going to run?
Let me share the... hold on, I gotta move you. Are you seeing this time? This, are you seeing this green and pink schedule?
Yes.
Yes.
So it should be done around 8:30. So
now
I'm giving you each 5 minutes.
okay, 5 minutes. Got it.
The songs probably we'll see how they go, but that is the schedule. I thought I put that in our chat, but I'll send that again. But we should all be done like an hour and a half or so. Maybe less.
Bridget, my name does say Heather Larson McClelland, right? I think that's what it said when you sent us the thing. I just want to make sure that it doesn't just say Heather Larson.
Okay, cool.
People will be
Can you-
asking me questions.
Yeah. So I'm going to be designing the ads today for all of you, like that one of me that I sent. I'm creating one for all of you guys. How do you spell your last name again? I'll put it on here.
M little c, big C, LELLAND.
Okay, so I'll make sure it's on there right now. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you went by the full or not. I was
Yeah,
actually going
I
to
think-
ask you that.
Well, either Heather Larson Heather Larson McClelland, or else Heather McClelland.
Okay.
Just so that people don't say, "Oh my goodness, what happened?"
Well, which one do you want? Do you want like this full name?
It doesn't matter. I think that's what you had the full name on when you sent us the thing on the messenger.
Okay.
And so that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I think you just probably got it off my Facebook. So
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So we have another 20 minutes or so to go over your questions, your concerns, or anything you want to chat about for Wednesday.
I do have a question, Bridget. Is it possible that I can meet with you? Okay, my situation is that I've been trying to clear my evening up and still keep my clients happy. And I have a woman who always comes on every second Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. So I've asked her to come a little bit earlier, 5:30 to 6:30, so I can be ready at 7. But now am I going to have to ask her to completely?
No, you're good.
Okay. Because I could maybe meet with you on the Zoom if you're available at 5 or 5:15, and then do my client and then change my clothes and then I'll be ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. So send me a message. I'll put it in my schedule.
Okay.
And we can do that for sure.
Thank you.
Because this is for fun, right? So we don't want you guys missing work and.
Okay.
But it's going to be fun. We're probably going to have like a lot of views, you guys.
That'd be great. You said 6:15 for
Wednesday night.
Yeah, I won't be able to make that
Okay.
because I'm still in a team meeting then.
What time are you out? I just want to make sure that we all have our video setups.
It's planned from 5 to 7.
Okay, so make
'cause I'm
sure.
in the middle of a big event, right? Like the event starts the following day. So we have a big team meeting, like kind of like a final team meeting before the event starts. And
yeah, where did I have you
time
on?
zones, right? Because my client is in Boston. So
what I'm going to do, Yvonne, is I'm going to switch you.
yeah.
Oops, actually, I don't want to do that. I'm going to switch you to the second last.
Okay. I will come on as soon as I can, but
Yeah. And then we have time to message. Anybody would like to go first, like the 7:20? I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Hold on.
What order are we in right now? I can't see that.
Yeah, I'm just sharing it now. So this is the order. Is there anything that's not working? Would somebody like to be earlier? So I've put Roseanne there right now, but Roseanne will also, are you going to be good to go for 7:20, Roseanne?
Yeah, because I'll be right on
Okay.
at 7 o'clock for sure.
Perfect. So this is the lineup.
Just make sure you switch our topics around.
Oh,
Thank you, Yvonne, for not noticing that.
You're
because
welcome.
you know me, I will screw it up.
No, you won't. Because I am the one with the eye for detail.
So I think I have all of your titles in the chat. I just haven't had time to plug it in here yet.
No, you don't have mine because I don't have it yet.
Okay.
But as soon as I come up with one, I will send it right away.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not sure what's happening. I've lost you all. You're all black.
Oh, we're here.
Black screen.
I can see everybody.
Yeah, I can see everyone.
Yeah,
See
we're
everyone?
here.
It's just on your end, huh?
We can see you.
Yeah, it's very weird. My computer. I think it. You know, I think what it is that I didn't restart my computer before.
It's
I.
it came up with a message again that your bandwidth is low.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn off my PowerPoint and see. There we go. You're all coming back. Yeah, I always try to restart my computer before we start. That's another thing too. Actually, on Wednesday, before we start the event, shut down your computers, completely shut down, and then restart, because that clears everything and it helps prevent this kind of stuff, because there's been so much windows opened.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I kind of thought that we'd be able to share our story and get some feedback, and I'm kind of nervous about what I'm saying and if there's a place I can improve. I don't know if there's any way we can get any feedback before.
Sure, let's do it right now. That's what this time is about. We said we would do that. So if any of you want to share your story, you are welcome.
I do want to share mine because I'm not sure about certain parts of it.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's go for it.
Can I do that? Is that okay with everybody?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, and I have notes because I haven't memorized it yet, but
okay.
Because I haven't got that many. Anyway, I'll get to it. So
you
just go
are
now?
going to be fabulous. I'm just going to put a stopwatch on, reset. Okay.
Probably too long as well.
All right, let's go for it. Woohoo. Okay. Oh, by the way, you guys, if you want to see your full screen right now, if you click on view at the top right and click on speaker view, top right of your screen, click speaker view, and then you are going to see Susan full screen.
Okay. Right, I'm going to give her then. Okay. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Growing up, Christmas was always my favorite holiday. I loved everything about it. My mom would hand sew us outfits, and I loved getting dressed up. My fondest memories are being in the kitchen making spritz cookies with my mom. And of course, the biggest thrill as a child was writing your note to Santa Claus and then staying up all night and wondering if your Christmas wish was really going to come true. I always believed in magic, and Christmas felt like magic to me. What I've learned as an adult is that magic is real, but that true magic comes from the heart and not from the store. When my father became seriously ill, my mother struggled with depression. Our family began to unravel, but I never let go of Christmas. I kind of took it upon myself to make sure Christmas still happened. I would go and dig up our vinyl albums and put them on the record player and play Christmas music in our living room. And I would goad my mother into decorating the tree no matter what. I'm pretty sure that's where I developed my sense of humor, because I spent a lot of time trying to make my mom laugh, whether it was copying quotes from our favorite movies or putting antlers on the dog. You name it, I did it. And we would always watch a funny Christmas movie, maybe Christmas Vacation, or our tradition became A Christmas Story with Ralph's quest for his Red Ryder BB gun, because my father actually, growing up, had that BB gun and did nearly shoot his eye out. And so we would always get entertained by hearing that story. But it was Christmas 1990, and I was only 16 years old, and I didn't know if I had enough in me to make Christmas happen. My father's chair sat empty in the living room, and his death had left a hole in our family that we had no way to fill. Christmas still kept going on around us. The stores were bustling and people waited in line for their pictures with Santa. But I couldn't figure out how the world could keep spinning when our world had been thrown completely off of its axis. How could we even have a Christmas? But one thing I've learned over the years is that sometimes the universe gives you gifts in unexpected ways. And sometimes if you lean into what is, you have unbelievable moments of grace. And that is what happened to our family that year. We got the greatest gift ever. We were given the gift of a Christmas. The phone rang, and the voice on the other end was my uncle. It was the only family we had in the province of Alberta. And he said, did we want to go to Banff and spend Christmas with his family that year? It was unbelievable. It was truly the most amazing thing I've ever experienced for Christmas at that point and even now. He gave us a hotel room in Banff, and we had a Christmas dinner at the Banff Springs. It was just unreal. And it was fine dining and it was fancy. But if you ask me right now, I don't remember those details. In fact, if you ask me what I had for dinner, I don't think I could tell you. I mean, I'm sure there was probably turkey. What I remember is being swept up in the love of someone else's family and feeling like I belonged to something that was bigger than myself. We walked the streets of Banff and marveled at the twinkling lights. And there was even a ceremony at the Banff Springs where they paraded the Yule log down and lit it up. It was really unbelievable. But what sticks with me is all of the feelings that there was more than just our little family of three. Where there had been tears, there was laughter, and there were hugs, and there was jokes and games. And to this day, the thing I remember most of all is playing a crazy cutthroat game of Monopoly with my cousins. And my one cousin was keeping money under his butt that he called his butt money. And we laughed more than we'd laughed in months. So at the heart of that invitation was love and kindness. And that has stuck with my brother and me to this day. So much so that when my brother decided to propose to his wife, that's the location that he chose, because to him, that represented love. So I'm going to finish with saying that one of my favorite authors, Glennon Doyle, encourages us to be kind and brave and to remind us that we belong to each other. And that to me is what Christmas is about. She writes that the most meaningful thing we can offer one another is love. Not advice, not questions about our choices or suggestions for the future, just love. I know that right now we're standing on the threshold of a Christmas that most of us have never experienced before. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and we are sitting with the idea that maybe we're going to be separated from one another or separated from the family that we love. I just want to encourage everyone that the biggest gift is the gift of love and kindness. And I believe, no, in fact, I know that we can all find ways to express that love and find ways to connect with one another despite the circumstances. Because for me, love was the greatest Christmas gift that I ever received. Thank you. That's it.
It's a beautiful story, Susan.
Oh my gosh, you got me all in the feels.
Same here.
Ditto.
Amazing story.
Oh,
Okay, because my itty bitty whatever committee was, the shitty committee was like really, no.
oh my gosh, I loved your story.
Story.
We
Excellent.
can't hear you, Bridget. Bridget, we can't.
Microphone is muted. That was sensational. Oh my God, I loved it. A couple of things. You're overtime like by a minute. So you got to be careful, right? Because we're on our show. So you might need to use your phone beside you. Even if you go over a little bit, it's okay.
You can borrow one of my minutes.
Yeah, I'll have some too.
But that's
I'm sure.
okay. Like we want anywhere like from 3 to 5-ish. Like if you go a bit over, because some will be less, will be fine. So because always, I always I sandwich it. So what's good, what could need improvement, what I like best. So what was good is you had like great facial expression. It was really nice. And you might want to back from the camera a bit because we're only seeing this much of you. I'd like to see a little bit of your hands, just a little bit more. The things to improve on, be very careful with the you did that a couple times, and that really comes out very strongly, but it's very minute. You only did it a couple times, but just be aware that if you're going to smack your lips, it sounds a lot louder in the camera. And the one thing the picture that you showed us, did you guys really get to process what that was, what it meant?
It
So
was,
if you're going to use your prop, you need to make sure that you really show it, and we need to know what it is.
Okay, so if I did this, is this better?
better.
But why are you showing us the picture?
Up a
Just
bit.
because of what it says, but maybe I don't need to. It was like a last minute thing to say that we belong to each other.
Do you guys like that she shows it or not? Because it's not only my opinion.
Because it's not important. I don't
Yeah.
have
Do you think she should show it or not? If you think she should, lift your hand.
So no one.
No.
I think you're so expressive. You don't need it.
Yeah, it distracted from the story, actually.
Yeah.
Flow.
Yeah.
It kind of broke away from, like, I was just so emotional about what you were saying. And then it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then this popped up. I was like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
What is it? Like it took away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
don't
Well,
use it.
because
It's
you were
better.
close to the camera, it was also hard to see. We couldn't see
Yes.
the words.
Yeah.
So,
This is exactly why I wanted to check it out with
Yeah.
people, because I've never done this
Yeah.
before.
but
You're
it's-
so
yeah,
good.
but
You
it's-
don't need it.
It's not about the picture, it's about your story, and your story is incredibly impactful the way you share it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
I love
what
the-
I liked best about your story is the ending. It's a beautiful ending, kind of a call to action. Like just it's sensational. Great story.
I love the Christmas tree behind you because, you know, that really put the mood of, I could, and your words, I could just be in the Banff Springs Hotel with you.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
sensational.
gosh. Yeah.
Anybody? Thank you. That was great. Anybody else would like to test their stories?
I would like to.
Okay, let's go for it.
I'm going to read it though because
Okay.
I won't read it on Wednesday, but okay.
And you know, you guys, like, even if you end up, I mean, life is busy. This is like, we're giving a gift to our friends online. If you have to read it, it's not the end of the world. I don't want you reading it, but if you have to, it's okay, because we'll still get your story. A read story is better than no story.
Okay. And I can't remember what it's called, and I didn't change it after I changed. It's called Santa Claus Fact or Fiction or something like that. Anyway, do you believe in Santa Claus? Well, just in case you don't, I'm going to tell you why I believe in Santa Claus, and I will always believe in Santa Claus. It starts a long time ago when I was 7 years old, and my younger sister was 6 years old. And the two of us used to have a Christmas tradition of sleeping somewhere other than our beds and in our rooms on Christmas Eve. Sometimes we would build a fort in the closet or under someone's bed, or we might use some chairs or furniture as a structure for our fort with blankets on top for the roof. But in any case, we would almost always sleep somewhere other than our beds. So I remember this one Christmas, we chose to sleep on the living room couch. My sister with her head at one end of the couch and I with my head on the other end of the couch. On this Christmas Eve, with all the excitement of our 6 and 7-year-old girls, we went to sleep on the couch, hardly able to contain our excitement. Now, keep in mind, the living room is where we keep our beautiful Christmas tree and our stockings that Santa will fill, all of them hung up there. Now, if you can imagine the difficulty we had falling asleep, 2 little girls raining with anticipation of waking up the next morning, seeing everything that Santa Claus had brought for everyone in the family. And of course, there was also the possibility of getting a glimpse of Santa as he was making his yearly stop to our house. The chocolate chip cookies and glass of milk were sitting there waiting on the coffee table just like every year, and the chatter before falling asleep was most likely hushed many times before sleep would have overtaken us. Well, sleep finally did come for us, and I, for one, slept very soundly. My younger sister, on the other hand, had a much different experience at this Christmas night. When we woke up early the next morning, as young 6 and 7-year-old girls do so on Christmas morning, my sister was full of energy and excitement of sharing her story with us about how this Christmas Eve she saw Santa Claus. So, of course, I listened with my own excitement as she recounted her story. It went like that. It went like this. Sometime during the night, she was woken up by a noise, and as she looked around the room, she saw a very large black boot and a leg which was dressed in bright red velvety pants. She said she must have made a noise too, as the fellow in the bright red pants turned around and looked at her. He smiled and he winked. My sister said she wasn't afraid because she clearly recognized him as Santa Claus. Then she reported that Santa came closer to her and touched her with his white, gloved hand on her face, which froze her, and she was unable to move or speak. Santa then went about his business of filling everyone's Christmas stockings to the brim and overflowing, and then she said he simply disappeared. We didn't have a chimney back then. The next thing my sister remembered is waking up on Christmas Day. She told us her exciting story with all the excitement she had, and I, of course, had lots of questions for my sister that Christmas morning. The main one, of course, being, well, why didn't you wake me up? I wanted to see him too. My sister was only able to recount her experience of how Santa touched her on her face and she became frozen and mute while watching him fill the stockings. She wanted to wake me up, but she wasn't able to. Oh, I was unimpressed with her for sure that my sister was not able to share this awesome experience with me, but I am able to continually live through her experience as I keep this memory of my sister's young and expressive heart close to my own heart. So as I end my story, I want to leave you with a quote from Laura Ingalls Wilder, which shares with us how our lives are better because of our childhood memories. Our hearts grow tender with childhood memories and love of kindred, and we are better throughout the year for having in spirit become a child again on at Christmas time. Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Love the story. It's such a fun story. It's like, I love your story. Obviously, you were reading it, you'll have a little more expression. Like, it's such a fabulous story. It's about like being a kid, and you just take us back. It was great. The one thing I would like you to see you try is, especially towards the end there's a couple times, like my sister said, that Santa touched, like you just let her like whatever it is that you said she said. I asked, what I'd like you to do is, I asked my sister, why didn't you wake me up? And then get into your sister's body and say, I don't know, Santa touched my face and I was frozen. Like, if you did that, it would add another layer that would be very enjoyable, if you feel comfortable.
Okay, I just have another question. So I bought an external mic and I just don't know if it's working or what's happening. It says I just have to plug it in. It's a USB drive and then it just automatically works. Does anybody hear a difference between last times that I've been speaking and this time?
I don't remember. I know right now you are great sound.
Okay.
Do you guys remember?
I think you can probably go into your settings too and see what mic you have, because you will have a mic, like if you're using your computer, there'll be a mic built in. And
actually, with Zoom, if you go at the bottom and click on the little arrow beside microphone, it lists all the microphones available.
There you go.
Bottom left where the mic,
yeah, I found it. So it says microphone. I think that's the one I am using. Okay, I think that's the one. I don't know. And then it says then it says microphone USB. So
okay,
that's
so select
not the one. So let's select that one. And then do some more talking. And does that sound different or?
It's worse actually.
Yeah, that one doesn't work as good.
Oh. Okay, so I put it back on the other one.
Yeah, this is great sound.
Okay. Okay.
And we'll test that on Wednesday as well when we show up at 6:15.
I'll be a little bit farther back on Wednesday, so not too much.
If any of you guys need to meet with me, I have time. I'll have sometimes on Monday and Tuesday, so we can look at things if you need to run something by me. Okay. Anybody else wanted to? I'll do. Okay, we'll do one more, and then I might have to. I'm going skating.
Oh wow, cool. So, I'll start. Have you ever had a Christmas where you received a gift you were totally not expecting? Let me tell you the story of the Christmas of 1993. It was finally Christmas Day around 9:30 in the morning, and my daughter, who was usually the first one up, came bolting into the bedroom and jumped into bed. Mommy, Dougie, it's Christmas Day. Get up, hurry up, get up. Come down and see all the presents Santa bought us. Hurry, Mommy. come on and get up. Turned to my partner. I said, good morning, hun. I'll get the coffee on and I'll see you downstairs. We were a blended family with 3 kids. My son, Chris, who was 7, my daughter, Sharissa, who was 6, and my partner's son, Sean, my stepson, who was 10. We decided this year would be a very simple Christmas and we'd focus on the kids and take a trip in the spring when they went back to each other's parents. So this Christmas was really geared to just the children, and I really had no expectations whatsoever. As I went downstairs, my daughter flew ahead of me and plopped herself down in front of the tree. The boys were already downstairs, shuffling amongst the presents and shaking them, sorting their piles. But today, they didn't lunge into them and rip them open. That was strange, I thought. I wondered what was going on. They were fidgety, giddy, and things seemed a little bit different. I thought, well, maybe it was just me. I'd made a cinnamon French toast casserole the night before and went into the kitchen. I turned on the oven, flipped the coffee switch, went into the living room and sat down. My partner, Doug, was already there, and all I could see was the glow of the tree, the sparkling lights, the smell of the coffee kicking in, the beginnings of the sense of the cinnamon French toast coming in. And I thought, oh, I just love Christmas. More than anything, the beaming lights of the children. As tradition, the kids would usually grab their gifts, rip them open, and tear them open this year, but they were still sitting there. They were bouncing up and down, literally, and staring at the tree. At the top of the tree was a huge red bow with a silver garland around it. I thought it was rather beautiful. I looked at the bow, and behind it was something. So I kind of looked at this thing, and my daughter, who was literally jumping out of her jammies, said, "Mommy, this is for you." I looked a bit closer, pulled it down, and I turned it around, and there was a scroll on there. It was a map. It's a treasure map. How cool is that? It had the writing of my children, and they had created a map for me. Mommy, we made this map for you. By now, they were jumping up and down and said, "It's a treasure map." It was, my gift was, it was found through a treasure map. Well, I was quite surprised they had created something like this. The first place we had to look on the map was the chair I normally sat in the living room. It was my reading chair, and on it was my Boyd's Bears blanket, the one they bought me the year before, with 3 bears on it. I often loved that. I loved it, and I often referred to it as my three little bears blanket. And behind my soft, cuddly blanket was a brochure. So I pulled it up, looked there, and it was a brochure for a campsite on a lake in the interior of BC. I thought, well, that's interesting. That was nice. But I couldn't quite figure out what that had to do with me for my Christmas gift. The kids squealed, were bouncing off the wall. So we looked at the next part of the map. And the next piece was leaning over towards the piano bench. So I opened the piano bench, lifted up the card, and inside was a card, and in there was a gift certificate. I pulled it out. It was a gift certificate to Cabela's, a sporting goods store. I thought, well, was this for me, or maybe some camping gear for the trip next year? I'm still not really sure. Then the final spot was the living room sofa, where I looked over and my partner Doug was sitting there with a beaming smile on his face. He looked at me, I looked at him, and I remembered the very first day we bought that sofa, the night we spent on it, and I cannot tell you anything more about that story. I'll leave that to your imagination. Anyhow, I reached under the sofa and I pulled out a long silver tube, and on it was a gold cap and a word that said sage, S-A-G-E. Is this from my essential oils, my favorite essential oil store called Sage? But why would it be in this long tube? Was this some sort of a interesting new packaging, or I couldn't really figure out what it was. And I thought, ooh, maybe inside there's a gift certificate to a spa or something. I can use all these beautiful essential oils. Who knows? But this time the kids were bouncing. They're like, open it. So I unscrewed the cap very slowly, actually quickly now, put it down, looked inside, and I pulled it out, and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. It was a fishing rod. I got a fishing rod for Christmas. I guess the theme of this Christmas must have something to do with gifts for the kids for next year. My daughter said, Mommy, pull it out. So we yanked the thing out all the way. Oh, it hit the wall. And on the end of it, I didn't have it on here, was a ribbon. And on the ribbon was something behind it that was shiny. And oh my God, it was a ring, a solitaire ring. And I looked at my partner. He looked at me, he said, was that the gift you really wanted for Christmas? It was an engagement ring. And he said, would you marry us? I said, oh my God, yes. My daughter and I jumped up and down, gave him a big smack on the face. We were all running around. The boys ran over to grab the fishing rod, took off. That was the last I saw of the fishing rod. That was my most surprising and shocking gift of all. The biggest Christmas gift I've ever gotten ever. And that was my story.
I love that story too.
That's fun. That's totally fun. Do you guys think she should end with, would you marry me? Or would you marry us? And leave the kids running out part? Or do we like that?
Should that be in there or not?
I like, would you marry? That's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah,
stop.
I think, sorry. Yeah, I would stop at will you marry us?
That's
And
the perfect ending.
yeah, and the other just comment, you referred to your partner Doug at the beginning. So I'm thinking, I know who Doug is. And you kept referring to my partner Doug, my partner Doug. And it was more personal if you had just kept talking about him as Doug after it. That's just my feedback.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Doug. Yeah. But end it with, will you marry us? And that was the best Christmas present ever.
Okay.
When you presented the story for us like the first time, did you think he was gonna propose?
No.
And then you got the fishing rod? Okay. So it wasn't a big surprise, like you didn't think you were gonna get proposed to, then get a fishing rod, then get proposed to. It was.
I didn't think I would get the fishing rod, and I didn't think I would be proposed to. So both of them were a surprise. There's a double surprise in there, but the biggest surprise was the actual the ring.
Right.
Great story.
It is a great story.
And actually your prop works really well in this story.
It works well. The place I'm going to do it downstairs, I'm just jammed in my office here and I don't have room and I'm hitting the wall, but it kind of works because I've got my screen on reverse so you can read the word.
Yeah, it was great. I love it.
And I was kind of reading it and I realized the reading aspect. I did it this morning with my new, it's not Doug. I'm not married to Doug, by the way, anymore. But I'm actually married to a district manager, DTM Toastmaster, who's going to help me with this story.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And he heard it for the first time this morning. So I did it. He said, no writing, no reading, no. And it actually came out really well. I just found the reading of it. I realized it does throw you off because I wanted to get it perfect for you guys, but it does come off better when you're not reading it.
All right. Oh, is she frozen again?
Oh, she's gone.
Yeah, I think I'm back now.
Okay.
I missed
Come
that
on,
whole
Ron.
last part. Ay, 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 horrible this morning.
I've got to run. I've got a meeting in 1 minute.
Okay.
So see you guys on Wednesday.
See ya.
Thanks for all your
It's gonna
help.
be so fun.
It will be good. Bye, guys.